On today's show, the Ricmotech GTpro3 Tilton Pedals. I'm Shaun Cole, this is the Simpit, and today we're here to take a look at the Ricmotech GTpro3 Tilton Professional Simulator Pedal Set Gen 2. Now that's a long title, so let's just call them the GTpro3 pedals from this point forward. These are some of the most high-tech pedals that we've ever tested here on the show, and they're packed full of features that sim racers want. This includes a hydraulic brake and clutch pedal, as well as high resolution and fast sensors, and a whole bunch of tunability. The GTpro3 pedals are built with real car parts to achieve a real car feeling. And that's just one of the reasons why Ricmotech calls these pedals professional, and we'll cover the other reasons why throughout the review. A reason that we, or I, will call them professional is purely their hefty price tag of $1,695 for the floor-mounted version. The GTpro3 pedals start off with a Tilton pedal set, which is quite literally an off-the-shelf part from racing shops intended for converting race cars or building them from scratch. The entire assembly is made of aluminum with forged pedal arms and adjustable pads. The pedal pivots feature wave washers along with oil-impregnated bronze bushings for long-lasting smooth movement. One feature of the 600 series pedals from Tilton is that each pedal arm is individually designed for specific reasons. The throttle pedal has a curve at the bottom for clearance for the brake bias adjuster to be mounted without interference. The pedal has a medium to high strength spring, and the pedal's throw can be adjusted at rest and at full throw. The gas pedal is topped with a thinner formula-style pedal pad that has that famous Tilton curve that we see copied on so many other pedal faces in the sim racing world. This curve allows for better pedal contact as the angle of the pedal changes throughout its movement. Mounted to the pedal arm is a magnetic Honeywell industrial hall sensor. Meanwhile, when you look at the brake pedal, you can see that it was constructed for absolute strength and rigidity, with cross members building up the structure of the arm. The pedal is topped with a much wider pad that also has the Tilton curve to it. At the bottom of the brake pedal arm is an adjustable brake bias bar. This takes the pedal's arm's movement and presses into dual master cylinders that in a car would be front and rear brakes. In the case of the GTpro3 pedals, this is used to adjust between a harder and softer feeling pedal. One master cylinder is at full hard, and the other uses a hydraulic system to engage a slave cylinder with the pressure being measured in line for a signal. That action then squeezes upon elastomer bushings for resistance. Ricmotech has done extensive testing and have selected these bushings for feeling and durability, but Ricmotech does sell a tuning kit for an additional $38. To adjust the strength or resistance of the pedal, you will need tools and basic understanding of how this bar moves and its limitations. Also, the starting point of the pedal can be adjusted forward and back for better spacing for heel-toe driving or for left foot braking by adjusting the threaded rods at the back side of the pedal. And those adjustments are another reason why Ricmotech call these pedals professional. Now, they do offer a remote adjuster that takes the tools out of the equation and puts those adjustments at your fingertips. That upgrade will set you back an additional $98. The overall stiffness of the elastomers and your brake bias setting will adjust the final throw distance. The clutch pedal is also uniquely designed and has a straight pedal arm without any extra bulk that also operates a hydraulic master cylinder, and the pressure is being measured for the signal to the sim. For the clutch pedal's resistance, there is a series of conical washers that are being compressed that offer a firm resistance that then pushes through like a real clutch pedal. In fact, this is the same theory or design of a real clutch plate if you look at it. A giant conical washer with cuts in it to make it collapse easier. The pressure of the clutch is fixed, but you can adjust the start and end point of its movement. The clutch pedal is topped with the same thinner pedal pad as the throttle. All three pedal pads can be moved up and down 3/4 of an inch and left or right up to 9/16 of an inch. Also, I'd like to point out the custom printed reservoir caps on all three master cylinders, which is a testament to the attention and detail Ricmotech put into these pedals. Coming out of each sensor, there's a 3-foot cable that is then plugged into an external control box. The GTpro3 pedals, if purchased on their own, are a pretty compact design and should fit in just about any rig. Just going to need to drill 4 holes and bolt them down. Ricmotech also offers a base plate with an elevated scuff-resistant heel plate that, if ordered with the pedals, costs $120. I used this base plate and found 2 holes that lined up on my R-seat and then drilled an additional 2 holes for a secure mount. Ricmotech has redesigned the electronics for this current generation of the pedals, as well as introduced new software that is very powerful that goes by the name GT Pro Panel. This software allows for very easy calibration changes, the setting of dead zones, and throw curves, but also has a few added bonuses not included in most pedal software that could even be thought of as driving aids, or dare I even say cheats. There is a lot going on here, but the most important things can be found pretty easily. Along with this review, I also did an interview with Frank Rico of Ricmotech where we covered all the features of the pedals and that new GT Pro Panel software. So if you want to know more tips and tricks, you can check out that interview, and we do have a link in the description of the show below here. Now, when it comes down to driving these pedals, in some ways, they drive like no other pedals that I've ever driven. They are very unique. For starters, just the pedal arms themselves, which is really on Tilton. These pedal arms are very stiff and strong, so much so that we really don't have to think about that anymore. But the difference here between these pedals and typical sim pedals is in the play. I would say that 9 out of 10 sim pedals on the market have 0 play or wiggle on them, and in some cases you might even find that to be too sensitive, in that the slightest touch will be enough for the game to see. For me, this is way too sensitive, and also not realistic when compared to real cars where there is more play in the system than you think. But I can rest my left foot on the brake pedal without getting any readings, but the moment I actually start to press, the game sees what I'm doing. This is a very big deal and much more matches the way I drive a go-kart or an open-wheeled car. The action on all 3 pedals is very smooth and what I would also call long throw, certainly the gas and clutch pedals. For me, a long throw gas pedal really helps with my car control, and the GTpro3 pedals give me just what I need and could even give me more if I wanted. This is a huge advantage for me over standard sim pedals. For extra tuning, it'd be nice to be able to adjust the spring tension, but the stock one has a good feeling, so it's not really a big deal. The clutch pedal is a unique take on the fall-off point feeling that is unlike conventional sim pedals. This is not nearly as dramatic as some of the other pedals that I've tested that use a cam or ramp angle to achieve that fall-off point. This feels more like a real-life clutch action to me, with a linear push-through more than a fall-off push-through. As good a feeling as the gas and clutch pedals are, it's the brake pedal that is a game changer for me. With this hydraulic system that then squeezes those bushings, creates a feeling so much more like a car brake pedal than any load cell that I've ever tested. The pressure required to achieve braking changes based on the speed and distance of the push of the pedal, and it gets stronger the harder or faster I push. For me, this allows a balancing act on the pedal that can be timed with the game to always flirt with locking up the brakes. This allows for much higher precision in braking than a typical sim racing pedal, but it is also the release of the foot that makes this brake feel so much more like a real car brake pedal. The typical sim pedals with a spring or load cell act much like a spring upon releasing the pedal. This means that it is almost pushing on your foot when you release. In a real car, the pedal releases slightly slower than your foot, and so do these. This also adds to the effectiveness and predictability of my braking. Overall, this pedal is very stiff and will require strong mounting, a firm seat, and a fairly strong leg. It won't wear you out while you're left foot braking, but you might need to build up your endurance to heel and toe all day long. But for me, a heavy brake pedal really helps me with trail braking, when the slightest pressure on the pedal can be enough to hold the nose of the car to the ground without locking up the brakes. I can easily modulate from that spot, adding a slight bit more pressure or the hint of release of pressure to adjust. Ricmotech does make a tuning kit that can change the overall pressure of the pedal. In my case, this ultra firm was very desirable, but you can tune them to anywhere between 100 and 350 pounds of pressure. The add-on brake bias adjuster was a really nice bonus and probably worth the money with these pedals. It's actually just hard enough to change the bias manually that I wouldn't change from car to car. But with the knob, it's as easy as a twist or two, and I can lighten or make my pedal heavier just like that. I don't use it every day, but if I was changing from oval to road or from Miata to a Formula One car, I just might. In sim racing, we have many different types of drivers. One of those dividing lines between camps might be the use of a clutch or not while shifting. And for those who heel and toe, they might prefer one pedal set. And for those who left foot brake, they might actually prefer another pedal set. That's an area where the GTpro3 pedals come in really nicely. With the ability to adjust the spacing distance front, back, left, and right of each pedal, it makes it really nice for either scenario. When setting it up for heel and toe driving, having such a strong brake pedal makes it so that it requires very little distance or travel to be covered in braking, making it even easier to get those blips in for smooth shifting. I also feel this is an area where the little amounts of realistic pedal play help too. You can rest your foot on the brake pedal, you can set your feet before the action without getting readings on your pedals. This makes heel and toe driving easier, more efficient, and most importantly, more realistic. That pretty much tells you everything that you need to know about the Ricmotech GTpro3 tilt and pedal set, but to point out the most important features or aspects of the review, let's go ahead and break it down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good, and that being hydraulic braking, best performance, professional grade pedals, most realistic feeling pedals, heavy duty, smooth movement, real racing parts, authentic, adjustable brake resistance on the fly, Tilton style pedal faces, long throw adjustable throttle, tuning kit for brake resistance and feel, easily mountable, all one unit, adjustable resting position of pedals, great for heel and toe. Software is brilliant, could almost be cheating. Compact for how much is going on. And now on to the not so good. They are very expensive. Most expensive pedals tested. Wires reaching to external control box. We'll have to drill rig. Non-adjustable throttle spring. Requires maintenance and adjustment. And now on to the bottom line, and I did mention this in the driving portion of the review, but it's all about the brake. It's all about the brake. A hydraulic braking system, to me, it's not just the realism, comparing it to a real car and the way the systems work and feel, but it's also the consistency and just the way it operates. Like I said, the way it builds up pressure, the way it releases the pedal. These are two things that my brain just works with very well, and it makes it very easy for me to modulate the pressure going into a corner, which is the most critical point of racing for me. Braking is when we win, braking is when we lose, braking is when we make our worst mistakes. And these pedals really are about the ultimate realism, and that really goes back to their intended purpose or design by Frank Rico of Ricmotech. He wanted to build pedals that were designed for a lot of real car racers coming to sim racing. They had a slightly different demand set than the sim racers do going into it, and they wanted certain things, certain features, certain feelings, and that's what he built. That's why he used Tilton pedal set to begin with. It would visually look like what they expect, and would also match the feeling that they expect under their feet and the adjustment to get it strong enough or light enough even on the fly. And then that gets back to the word professional, and it's in the title of the pedals. It's something that we talked about throughout the review as well. You've got the numerous amount of adjustment, but it's also the knowledge and wisdom to make those adjustments, because you could actually damage it if you did something wrong. So you kind of have to know what's going on and be able to make those adjustments. You might have to change the fluid in the reservoirs. It is a real hydraulic system. You might have to do a little service and maintenance, and that is very professional. Of course, course, you've got the cost. These are the most expensive pedals that we've ever reviewed on the show, and you gotta call that professional as well. So all of these reasons we also covered in that interview with Frank. He told you or explained the thinking behind the pedals, the reasoning for the feeling, and what you're getting for that money. And again, you can check out that interview with the link below. So at $1,695, these pedals are not for everybody, and that's okay, because there are a lot of great pedals on the market that you're going to get great results from. They're going to perform on track just perfectly. But if you are looking for the ultimate in realism, if you're looking for the ultimate in performance, as far as I will tell you, my testimony, then you definitely have to consider these pedals. So I did have the previous generation of these pedals on my rig for the last 6 years. I hammer on them every day and have had fantastic results. They hold up very well, and I'm very excited about this set, replacing them and going on my rig, and I can tell you they're going to be on my rig for many, many years to come. So I think that tells you everything that you need to know about the Ricmotech GTpro3 pedals. If you want more information, you can check them out at ricmotech.com. Be sure to thumbs up this show if you enjoyed what we did. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to find out when our next review comes out. Most of all, thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.